What is going on YouTube? This is Jim back with another really late to the party backlog review. Today I want to give you guys my final thoughts on Far Cry Primal. I did a video a couple weeks ago, a Let's Play on PlayStation 4 asking the question, is this game any good? And I'm here to tell you guys, not only is it very good, but in my opinion, it is the best Far Cry game dating from Far Cry 1 all the way through the new Far Cry New Dawn. And this game does so many things right. It's so easy to lose yourself in this world and have just a ton of fun exploring and doing side quests and just clearing the map, which Ubisoft is definitely known for, and this game definitely suffers from that. But before I get into all of the nitty-gritty on things I like and didn't like, I want to give you guys a high-level overview of what the game is about. This game came out in 2016 to limited fanfare after Far Cry 4 released. It was the year right after, and it was the first of these new half-year releases, almost in a sense, because we've seen that now with Far Cry and then them very rapidly releasing Far Cry New Dawn after that. Far Cry Primal didn't really receive a lot of fanfare, as I mentioned. It just kind of sprung out of nowhere. People didn't know if it was an expansion. It is not an expansion. It has nothing to do with Far Cry 4, and it's no other map you've played before. So it's not like you're gonna start playing and say, oh, they're borrowing assets from here or there. No, this is a completely new original map, and it is a totally different play style than any of the other guns, and vehicles that you have seen in previous or future Far Cry games, depending on when you're looking at the timeline of this game. They definitely, you could see a lot of systems that were also put in place in this game too, like an owl that you see in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the owl that kind of lets you explore the land in Primal, ultimately turn into the eagle. In Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you're gonna get companions in this game, something you saw in Far Cry 4, especially a lot with Far Cry 5, where you're gonna have friends to kind of help you out. So you're starting to see Ubisoft kind of test the waters in this game, and I think that's partially what makes it so good in the timeline of Far Cry games, but it just had a very, very gritty, guttural feel to it. So you play as Takar of this tribe, the Winja tribe, and they are scattered to the winds. They're actually taken out very early on by an enemy tribe, which is one of the main villains that you'll have to fight. This guy is named Ul. Ul runs this tribe, the Udam tribe, and they are out for blood. You as Takar basically go around this land, known as Oros, to basically collect other tribe members, bring them back, and rebuild the community for you and all of your tribesmen to live, happily ever after, I guess. This game takes place in 10,000 BCE, so there are no dinosaurs in this game, but it's definitely an untamed caveman-like universe, Neanderthal man with spears and clubs and bows and arrows, fire, poison, very primitive types of weapons. You're not gonna see any guns, you're not gonna see any cars. As I mentioned, unfortunately, there's no dinosaurs, but you're gonna see a lot of primal beasts, bears and saber-tooths and snow leopards and that sort of thing, and they are everywhere and they are out for blood, really more so than any other Far Cry game. This game never lets you kind of rest. You're always on guard because there are so many things happening at once, whether it's random events from other NPCs, whether it's all the beasts trying to take you out. It's always a moment-to-moment game of survival, and it really isn't until the very end of the game when you're really leveled up, you have a pretty good handle of the world with a really good companion, do you kind of start to feel safe. But even towards the end, I struggle with some of the end stuff because it is a tough game. Now, if you want to take that to a farther level, they offer this mode called Survival, which really doubles down on everything and requires you to constantly get resources and your hunger meter and all these other things that really take into effect. If you don't want to play that, you don't have to. You can just play the base game. But I want to tell you guys now that it's more challenging than other Far Cry games. So as I mentioned, you play as Takar, and your goal really is to bring your tribe together. Along the way, you're going to find out that there's actually a third tribe out there with another evil leader who is also trying to take you out. And it kind of becomes this three-way race of who is going to inhabit this land. You're going to befriend a lot of NPCs. Some of them are from the Winja tribe that you are like old friends sort of that are coming back in the fold to help you out. you're going to actually recruit members from both tribes that are enemy tribes and bring them into your camp. And you're going to kind of see how they try to integrate in with your survivors and the missions and their thoughts and their dreams of things they want you to do. So Takar really does kind of go outside the boundaries of just his clan. And I think that's why people in the game revere him so much, because not only is he a skilled fighter, but he's also somewhat of a caveman diplomat, which is something that you don't typically see in a lot of these other Far Cry games. Typically, it's you versus the world, and you're gonna hunt, pillage, loot, and shoot all the way through the game. This game does have a little bit of that base building where you can build up huts for people and you can bring resources back, you can colonize other parts of the map, which will in turn provide you with valuable resources. It's kind of a self-feeding machine. And I really, really enjoyed the game for that. And if you don't want to do any of that, you really don't have to. They're going to force you to do a little bit as part of the tutorial. But if you just want to say, I don't care about any of you guys, I just want to go out there and hunt and be like a crazy man, you can do that too. That's what's really nice about this game, is it gives you tons of flexibility on how you want to play. But I think it's best enjoyed if you play the game the way they wanted you to, by incorporating some of that base building and into kind of exploring and working through all the storylines of all the other characters. So Takar very early on realizes he has a gift and he can tame beasts. He becomes Takar the Beastmaster. That plays a major, major role in the game. You will hunt and you will find rare beasts in the game that after fighting them, you can tame them and they will become your permanent companions. They will fight for you. They all have different abilities, like some of them are immune to fire or immune to poison. Some of them, like the bears, for example, a giant bear, like a grizzly bear, he'll act as a tank and he'll pull all enemies towards you. Some of them have can be ridden. There's a lot of different perks. You're gonna get a lot of beasts to choose from, and you can swap them out as easily as you want. You can have them just kind of stand next to you and they'll just kind of do their own thing, or you can say sick them and the beast will run off and maul people, and it is phenomenal to watch. Later on, you'll get to fight these mythical beasts, which are these legendary, very long 4 or 5 stage boss battles where you have to hunt down an enemy and follow them and set up traps and wait for night cycles. And it's very, very intense, and it is really, really rewarding because these beasts are, of course, the best in the game. They are the most ferocious, they are the most powerful, and they really, really, that's what I was mentioning earlier, those beasts really do turn the tide of war for you later on in the game, because they're going to be able to take a significant amount of punishment and they're going to be able to receive a lot. So they're going to be able to just be these like really like turn the tide of the battle in pretty much any situation. So if you're like me and you did things out of order and you went and did the bosses first and then you wanted to go back and finish the rest of the story, well, you're probably gonna laugh because some of those bosses probably would have been significantly easier when you start doing some of these hunts, but that's okay. I did a little bit out of order because surprisingly, this game doesn't give you a final end scene or any kind of final credits until after you've done everything. You have to not only, and I don't mean like 100% exploration, I mean your main story, the 2 other main stories of taking out the 2 enemy tribes, and then you have 4 or 5 different companions. Some of them, as I mentioned, are borrowed or stolen in a sense from the other tribes. Some of them are your local companion friends. You're gonna have to work through all of their stories in order to get a final cutscene in order to finally roll credits. So I would say I beat this game a couple days ago, but to stay true to I wanted to roll credits, I actually went through and did all of this optional stuff. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that I did. Because it is fun. It does have that Ubisoft grind to it where after a while you're kind of like, okay, I feel like I've kind of done everything I need to do. Once you get the core mechanics down, this game doesn't necessarily offer a significant difference in terms of what you're going to be doing. Sometimes it's going to be burning down a village. So you're going to take fire arrows or a fire spear or fire clubs, and you're going to go around and you're going to shoot everything and burn everything to the ground. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't have like a destructible environment. So it's not like things are actually going to explode. They're just going to turn ashy, but it does have a fire effect that does spread. It does hurt enemies. It does scare out wildlife, which is really, really cool to do. You're gonna have a lot of fun doing that. So that's a type of mission you're gonna see a lot of. Then there's gonna be the escort missions and sneak in and gather 5 of these things missions, or go fight this enemy or something like that. And once you've kind of seen those, maybe I say a dozen or so types of missions, that's pretty much gonna be it for the game. And I know you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't sound very fun, but really when you have this companion with you, and really since the world is so punishing and there's so many different biomes and different materials to collect, you're gonna really start to have fun with it, and I think you're gonna lose yourself in the world.
you're gonna be like me and you're gonna say, I'm gonna go do this quest, and then you're gonna veer off, and before you know it, you spent 2 or 3 hours on the other end of the map exploring and taking out enemy encampments and finding rare materials and fighting rare beasts and skinning them and that sort of thing. And you're gonna totally forget what you set out to do initially. So this game was totally a time sink. That's why I said the time is gonna vary from person to person and how much they play through it. So as I mentioned, skinning beasts and collecting tribe members and building them back will ultimately give you more of a base. That is going to allow you to get more resources, which will allow you to upgrade your gear better. A lot of the things have multiple upgrades to them. So you're gonna have like a base club that does maybe like 3 damage, and then you could upgrade that to like a very strong club, and that's gonna do maybe like 15 damage or something like that. But it's gonna require you to get, you know, a bird's feather, and then eventually it'll be like a blackbird's feather or some rare animal that you're gonna have to go out and actively seek, unless you start building up your clan and your tribe. And if you do that, your gatherers will bring stuff back for you automatically. So you just go and open up the goodie bin and see what you have. So that's why I said it. I think it pays to play the game in kind of the way it was meant to be played, because you're gonna find that building up your camp is gonna make you stronger. Not just because you're gonna have more missions and more options and you're gonna get more influxes of resources, but it's gonna allow you to do more crafting. And everybody that you uncover, depending on how many missions you do for them, will unlock additional parts of their crafting tree, on parts of their skill tree. They're gonna allow you to be the best fighter you can be. You're gonna get experience doing everything, whether it's hunting animals, hunting people, doing side quests, gathering. Pretty much anything you do in this game is going to give you more experience, which you could then put into a pretty robust skill tree, a nice blend of passives and actives that allow you to do some really ridiculous things, like self-healing later on or infinite sprinting. You'll be able to tame more and more and stronger beasts as time goes on. Unfortunately, you can only have one at a time, but you're gonna be able to get up to that legendary status and hunt down some pretty cool things. You get to ride a mammoth. It's just really, really fun. So I ultimately enjoyed this game. I think what really threw me for a twist was, as I mentioned, that second camp halfway through that was this villain that came out of nowhere, who in a sense was more diabolical and evil than the first. It was very interesting. It had some good cutscenes to it. Be prepared to read though. This entire game is spoken in a foreign language, this like caveman-esque language. I don't know if it's based on any real language or not, or if it's just like made up gobbledygook. I couldn't tell. I suspect though, because I started playing, I started hearing some of the terms over and over. It's probably derives from some other primal language, but it's entirely subtitled. So you're gonna have to pay attention and listen and read, because they don't talk, they don't speak English, which I really did appreciate. I'm really tired of the Ubisoft games where everybody just has a goofy English accent. These people do not speak English, and I really did appreciate that. Anything else I could say that really blew me away? I talked about the hunting, I talked about the gathering, I talked about the exploration. I guess if anything, and to kind of close this video out, I really did like this game. For whatever reason, it was just maybe an off year, or people weren't really expecting a Far Cry game to come out so fast, but it really did review very well. But I think that if you're kind of burnt out on the Ubisoft formula of going to the tower and uncovering the next part of the map and getting these ad nauseum fetch quests and side quests, I don't think you're gonna find that experience in Far Cry Primal, but you're gonna get that really nice attention to an open world. You're gonna find a lot of NPCs that have very interesting, sometimes comical, sometimes a little bit more disruptive storylines that you're gonna have to work through, and not everybody gets a happy ending. I think that's something that's very interesting too. But ultimately, you know, Takar the Beastmaster, your player character, is a tried and true hero who just really does their best every given situation, and it's up to you to kind of see how it ends. I don't give review scores in my videos, but I can tell you guys that to me, Far Cry Primal is the best Far Cry experience, hands down. I highly recommend it. I'm really glad I spent some time going back in my backlog to complete it. With that, I'm closing out this video. I hope you guys found this informative. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.